If you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you're responsible or somewhat responsible for growing the revenue of your company. And one of the fastest, most impactful ways we can do that is by dropping the cost per acquisition or the cost per lead. And how we do that is by making our marketing ecosystem more efficient. So what I'm going to do in this video is break down exactly how you can do that straight away. Now I want to ask you a quick question. What would lowering your cost per acquisition or cost per lead by 30% do for the unit economics of the business? How much faster could you scale? How much more profit per sale would you make? And how much more fun would running the business be? Let's not leave it to guesswork. I've got a few scenarios for you to break down exactly what this looks like. So in a basic e-com model, D2C, if we're running at $120 cost per sale, simply lowering our CAC by 30% would lower us from $50 to $35 in this scenario. If we're running 250K a month revenue, which a lot of you are probably doing a lot more than that, it shifts our profit volume, makes us an additional $31,000 in profit at the end of the month without doing anything else but lowering our CPA, right? So this is an important metric to consider. On the B2B side, if you're spending 30K a month on advertising or on your acquisition system, and we can drop our cost per lead from $100 to $70, that results in our qualified lead volume for the month going from 300 to 428. If we're closing those deals at 20%, that means we're closing now 85 deals as opposed to 60, simply by dropping our cost per lead by 30%. So if you run a 5K service, cash collected increases by 125,000 here, simply by that one change alone, all other metrics remaining equal. So regardless of the business model you're in, this is one of the most impactful metrics that we can attack. It's also one of the hardest, but that's all right because we've spent a lot of time figuring this out. So I want to reiterate, your ability to efficiently acquire new customers is the single most important metric of your business. Solving this problem is one of the determining factors on whether your business scales or not. Well, I wouldn't even say scales, I would say survives. If you can't efficiently acquire customers, why are you in business, right? Lucky for you, we've spent the last 7 years figuring out how to predictably acquire new customers and have distilled the process into this system. You can download it on this page. Below this video, you can get free access, the most insane value you'll find on the internet. You can get access to that for free. At any point in this video, jump in and download. And we built this system while spending over 21 million just on meta ads and working with companies like Spotify, Airbnb, Marriott Hotels, Selfie Leslie, Pet Circle. I'm not going to go into all the details, but we've worked with a lot of the most credible businesses in the industry who are the most efficient at customer acquisition. And we spent a lot of time refining this and distilling it into a framework so that you can install our lessons and learnings without having to go through the rough patches that we went through. We've also worked with over 150 other businesses total, me and Nick combined, Nick's who worked with me on this process. So if you haven't downloaded the resource already after everything I've just told you, who hurt you? You must be skeptical, which is totally fair enough. Why should you trust me? I'm a random dude on the internet. That's fine. So I'm going to dedicate the rest of this video running through the details of the demand engine that we've created, so you can see the intricacies and the thought process behind why we created it in detail, right? And at any point, as soon as you're convinced, you can go in and fill out the super short form, couple of questions, and you can get access straight away. So, what are the symptoms of a business with no efficient customer acquisition system without having this process dialed in? Pretty simple, your CAC's inflated, you can't convert cold traffic or strangers on the internet into loyal customers at volume with ease. You feel like competitors or competing solutions are taking a lot of your customers. Your content strategy, whether that's advertising or organic, is guesswork rather than a psychology-backed process. That's what we want to fix here. Scaling feels like luck, not predictable, and you're trying to get lucky by trying to go viral or have something win without having the process to follow. It's one of the most frustrating things you can do, and you're leaving money on the table every single day, which hurts, obviously, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And that's why we created the Demand Engine by Pursuit Partners, which is our company, for you to help solve this problem. The Demand Engine was created to help you replicate what we see work in all the high-performing brands we've been on the inside of. We've been on the inside of these companies, we know how it works, and we want to share that with you to help you scale. All at the same time, without having to spend 150K hiring in-house, risking someone with a potential skill set that probably won't even have this knowledge, without gambling your hard-earned revenue on guessing, and without having to put your business success in the hands of an expensive agency you don't trust, which a lot of people do. Painful, right? So here's a quick visual of what the demand engine implemented effectively looks like from a customer lens, right? You can imagine your customers in the middle, and every single purchase that anyone makes on the internet, including you, requires 4 things. It requires status. There needs to be a status gained through that purchase. Trust. I need to trust you in what you're giving me. There needs to be value exchange. I need to perceive the value of what you're giving me to be higher than the money in my pocket. And there needs to be a desire there. I have to want what you're giving me. But how do we create those? It's one thing to know that that's what a purchase requires, but how do we create that through our marketing material, through our customer journey, and through our marketing ecosystem so that a customer can feel the tangible perceived value and ultimately scale our customer acquisition and get those customers at a much lower cost than you currently are, right? It's a psychology-backed customer acquisition framework that allows you to own mental real estate in your customer's life, making your solution the only option and positioning your brand as the category leader. This is visually what that looks like when this content system is installed. It's like a web of perception, right? So what I just ran through, every purchase requires these 4 things. And we spent a lot of time distilling these down into the most valuable ones without trying to make it too complex, right? But how do we create those 4 things? There's the 8 pillars that are inside the demand engine, right? The 8 here, which the resource goes into more detail. Every piece of marketing material should be built off the back of one of these pillars because this is all that matters. Every ad, email, piece of copy, website, social post, partnership, lead magnet, everything. One of the first things we do when we go inside audit a business is analyze, are they hitting all these pillars? Because if you're not, your CAC will be inflated and you won't scale as fast as you could be. And I'm going to show you in more detail how that works as you keep watching. Right? Without this system, all your marketing is guesswork. You don't know which creatives to run, how to bring it to life. Is the message you're putting out into the market efficient and working? And if you don't have it, you're leaking potential customers in every interaction, right? So CAC's inflated, we understand that now. And the reason that's important is there's pockets in your TAM, which is your total addressable market of the niche and industry that you operate in, that will never convert unless you address all 8 pillars. So how do you know if you're covering all those 8 pillars if you don't have access to the system and you're not ticking it off predictably? So let's look at a quick visual. I'm sure you've seen this adoption lifecycle map. If you haven't, essentially in any category, there's people that are easier to convert and some people that take a lot more convincing, right? So as you're currently operating, you might be acquiring 16% of the market with your current ecosystem, with the current content you're putting out, your current ads, your current VSL, whatever. But as you scale, as you reach further in-depth pools of the market who aren't as ready to buy, who take more convincing, if you think of the content funnel, like the customer acquisition funnel, you might be able to convert the bottom of the funnel, but the reason why you can't convert middle and top is because you don't have all these 8 pillars installed, right? And your CAC will start blowing out. Your CPA, your cost per lead will start blowing out if you don't have these 8 pillars. Because as you get to more sophisticated, more skeptical layers of the market, which are these middle and back ends of the market, these guys take more convincing and you're not convincing them because you don't have all these pieces in place to overcome and nullify all their objections. And that's what this process is supposed to do. With the demand engine, you can acquire customers in every pocket of your TAM, your total addressable market, because you're addressing all the beliefs that they have that they need to adopt to become a customer, regardless of their level of skepticism. And when you do that at volume, you can acquire customers more efficiently, even those harder to acquire ones, right? Let's look at this from more of a TAM map. So when acquiring customers, you might be only attacking a small segment of the market with your current marketing ecosystem, right? But there are pockets of consumers that will only convert if you have a significant amount of social proof. Now, this is one of the easiest ones to attack. So let's say you have that. Let's say you don't have a clear articulation of how the outcomes and benefits of your products are displayed through your marketing material or your customer journey. This pocket of customers you will never acquire because they need to adopt that belief. Let's say you're not addressing fears and concerns of your of your target market. This pocket of customers you'll never convert because they will only convert unless you address their fears, right? You need to appeal to customers where they're at. And to be a leading player and to scale efficiently, you need to be hitting all these 8 pillars to address the whole TAM, right? So that's what I just covered here. I'll give you a super practical example of how this works so you can understand it. Let's pretend you're writing a book. You want to be an author, you want to be famous, amazing. And you wanted as many people to read the book as possible. All the time you spent building this book and taking the knowledge and refining it of years and distilling your thoughts into the most succinct way that's actually going to help people. You want as many people to read that as possible, right? You would be doing yourself a disservice by only making a hard copy, whilst traditionally creating a book means you create a hard copy, right? Whilst practically that makes sense, but there's a huge percentage of the market, particularly today, that just would never read a book because that's not how they consume content and how they resonate with people. If you wanted as many people to get access to this content as possible, is you need to create an audiobook version, the Kindle version, do a podcast interviews with some of the key principles, do YouTube explainers, even blog posts with a lot of the key takeaways or summaries of the book, and Instagram shorts are some of the key points. You get the drift. That way, we're able to meet those pockets of customers where they're at in the way that they consume content. It's the same in advertising. We need to show up and address our consumers' objections, and they need to adopt the beliefs that we need them to adopt throughout our customer journey to become a customer. And without this system, you might be only hitting a couple of them. So everyone else who fits those other pillars that you're not hitting will never become a customer of yours, and they'll likely go to a competitor that does have this. So let's run a visual of objections. You can see this graph here. Let's say in your current marketing ecosystem, you're addressing 5 out of the potential 7 objections that a customer has. What is it? What is your product? Will it solve my problem? Why is it different? Does it work? And who's using it? Let's say you tick all those boxes. But there are pockets of customers that have 7 objections, and they need to know, is it good value for money? And will it give me status? If you have not addressed these objections, these people will hit a wall and never convert. These are the customers, the most triggering ones, that sit on your email list for a year and never buy. These are the ones that follow you on socials, like your posts, but never become a customer. Why? Because they're somewhat interested, but they're just not quite over the edge, and they're running into this wall, and you haven't addressed that concern yet. So they're never going to become a customer. Every time I audit a business, I jump in, have a look at their customer journey. What's the creative? What's the message you're sending to the market? And there's a very, very high chance that you're missing some of these. So if you install a demand engine, which you can get access to if you download it on this page, some of the benefits you'll see is your team will have clarity and conviction on what marketing assets to create. Agencies and freelancers you hire will have higher winning ad rates or content rates. The AI systems that you train with this content, with this system that you build, will produce better content for you. They'll be more educated. You'll create a much higher volume of marketing assets with the same resource. Every marketing effort will compound. Customers will see you as a category leader and the only option, even against bigger competitors. And your customer LTV will be higher because you earn mental real estate within your customers or your prospects that you are the one to solve their problem. So we have a document that details this process that you need to run through to build this for your company. It breaks down the research, objection handling, psychology, content pillars, content plan, and daily implementation of the demand engine to directly impact revenue and drop CPA, right? It's a 5-part process. You can have a look at this once you get access. Then you'll create your company's blueprint, and it should effectively look like this. This is what we're trying to create, okay? All the details are on the other side of the access. This should be the foundations of all your marketing assets going forward, and it creates a web that's very hard to break for your target market. A quick stat, CMO Council report revealed that 86% of senior marketing leaders agree that leadership or capability gaps within marketing directly resulted in missed revenue growth or customer acquisition. So even some of the biggest companies in the world believe that they're leaving money on the table because their customer acquisition system isn't dialed in. And this is going to help you do that. Just because you have a marketing team doesn't mean your systems can't be improved. So get on the other side. I'm not asking you to make a decision yet. Simply decide if this will help you after you've got access. So you've got 2 options. You got to this point in the video. continue flying blind and guess your ways to success, or continue in your current trajectory. Maybe you're doing fine and you don't want any help, or you don't want to improve. That's fine. Or you can get access to the demand engine for free and start scaling more efficiently, implement it, get the resource. If you've got any further questions, you can email me directly, bailey@pursuitpartners.co. Check that email there. And that's it. Check out the page for our credibility. There's a bunch of written words on there so you can understand who we are, who we've worked with. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side of the resource. Peace.